Thank you for tuning in to the best parenting show on the internet, Post Daily Dose.
It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post.
Hey, good evening, gang. Welcome to another episode of Post Daily Dose with me, your faithful parenting advisor, trusted servant on the healing journey. What's my name? Big Papa Brian+Post. And I actually messed that up, so that's interesting. So I have to tell you guys about an experience I had today. I'm all the time talking about in my lectures that trauma is any stressful event which is prolonged, unpredictable, and overwhelming. So any stressful experience, any stressful event that's prolonged, unpredictable, and overwhelming. And when that event continues on, unexpressed, unprocessed, and misunderstood, then that's the difference between a short-term stressful experience and a lifelong, potentially life-altering traumatic event. So it's very important. I'm going to say that again. Hello, Ashley. I'm going to say that again because that part is really important because I've been teaching that for 20 years. Trauma is any stressful event which is prolonged, overwhelming, or unpredictable, and when that event continues on, unexpressed, unprocessed, and misunderstood, that's the difference between a short-term stressful experience and a long-term, potentially life-altering traumatic event. So, I always say when a stressful thing happens, do you ever notice that the first thing you do is you pick up your phone and you call the person closest to you? And if you can't reach the person closest to you, then you reach the next person closest to you. And you just keep calling and talking to people, and you'll hang up with one person, you'll pick up the phone and you'll dial the next person. And the person who you got off the phone with is thinking like you probably, I talked all you needed to, but you haven't. So you just keep going. That's actually how our brains process through stressful experiences so that we can make sense of them, so that we can integrate them and understand them, and therefore they don't affect us anymore. So today I had a stressful and unpredictable and a stressful experience. And here's the thing. So I'm out in LA. I got a family I'm going to go see 3 hours away in this other little city tomorrow. So I got to pick up a rental car. So I thought I'd pick up one for 7 days because I have some other friends here in LA that I'm going to see through the weekend and next week before I eventually make my way back home. So yesterday morning, I got on the computer and I reserved a car at Hertz. Did prepaid, everything, paid for it. Got it all set up this morning at 3 in the morning because I was up this morning at 3 in the morning. I don't know why the time change still messing with me. So I got the text message with my confirmation and my confirmation code. Everything's good. So today, 11:30, supposed to pick the car up at noon. 11:30 arrives. Have my friend drive me down there. I'm at the Hertz store. 11:30, walk in, say, hey, here to get my car. And the lady asked for my confirmation code. I give it to her. And she says, that reservation was canceled. And I said, well, what do you mean it was canceled? She said, well, I don't know. It was canceled. There's really nothing we can do. I said, okay, well, can you uncancel it? Because I didn't cancel it. I just made the reservation yesterday. Can't uncancel it. Okay, well, hey, good evening, Kirsten. I said, okay, well, I'm looking on my cell phone, on my app for my credit card, and it says that it's still pending, so you've taken the money off of my credit card and I don't have that available anymore. So can you refund this money or free it up so that I can turn around and rent another car? Well, in order to do that, you're going to have to call the customer service number. Okay, well, can you call the customer service number? Now, let me say something. The lady was nice, right? She was pleasant. She wasn't unpleasant, and I was pleasant. I've been traveling long enough and dealing with situations like this long enough that I don't get really worked up, at least my window of tolerance. Yes, Jill, it's very inconvenient. So then let me tell you the other looming thing is I was going to see my friend Jeanette Yoff that I introduced you guys to last night. She was doing a seminar today, so I knew I had work to do this morning, but I knew I was going to get there afternoon, right around noon, right around 1 o'clock. We'll get to experience 4 hours of her work. And so I had that. That's why I'm there early. It should be a 15-minute process at most. So I said, well, you guys kind of screwed this thing up. can you call someone and have them release my funds so it'll show up on my credit card so I'm not paying you twice plus another deposit that you would put on the car? And she's like, no, I can't do that, but I can give you customer service. I'm like, okay, so first of all, this is already not good customer service. So you're giving me a number, that's fine. I'm gonna call the number. So I call the number, person says, okay, and this is a 10-minute period of time. Phone call takes 10 minutes. I'm like, okay. She says, yes, we're gonna release the hold or whatever it was. I can see that it was canceled, yada yada. And the lady had told me before I called, she said, well, it's going to be $147, and my reservation was for $127. $20, not a big deal. It's the principle. It's the principle. I booked and paid for a car for a week for $127. I would like that to be honored. The lady at the desk at the shop says, we can't do that because you booked that online. Now you're here in the shop. So it's $147. Not happy about that, but okay, I'm still using my window of tolerance. Lady on the phone says, we'll refund you. I've initiated the refund, should show up 1 to 2 hours. I said, wait a minute, 1 to 2 hours. See, when you stay regulated, you can hear everything. Like, I'm listening to every shit. 1 to 2 hours, does that mean she said a couple of hours. I said, does that mean I need to sit here for a couple of hours until this money shows back up on my credit card? She says, no, why are you saying a couple of hours? Why are you saying 2 hours? I said, well, you said a couple of hours before it's back on my card, and a couple usually implies 2. So she said, no, it should be shorter than that. I said, okay, so hang up. I'm waiting to go back to the front desk. Okay, this money should be clearing. You should, see something on your end, yada, yada. Nada. Nothing's there. So I'm like, can't we figure this out? Because this one credit card I use just for car rentals. So it doesn't have a big available limit. It's just my car when I travel. It's my car card. And when I have to pay double for something, it uses up the credit limit that I have available. And so they're tying up 1%, they're tying up this $127 that I paid, and then going to also charge me this deposit, which then turn around and do that same amount again exceeds my limit. And so I'm like, well, okay. I said to the lady, can I use my bank card and go ahead and pay for the car again, put the deposit on my credit card like you guys always do? Sorry, we can't use that. We can't use 2 forms of payment. I'm like, okay, so I guess I need to call customer service again. So I call customer service again. Another 10 minutes. Woman says, I'm going to send you this email to your email account, and let me refer you over to, back to the salespeople. Okay, salespeople say, well, you're already there. It's probably best to talk to the lady in the front office. Now, I got there at 11:30. We're probably getting close to noon by this point. So we've been there for 30 minutes. Then I wait. I call Capital One. So now I'm calling customer service. Hertz customer service. I'm calling Capital One, my credit card. Hey, can you release this money? They said they released it. Capital One says, we see nothing. Okay, I'm going to call them back. And every time you talk to these people, you have to go through this process of the voice recordings. Oh my gosh. And then the voice recordings say, did you know that you can save yada, yada, yada? And I'm like, oh my gosh, just get me to a person to talk to. And so hang up with Capital One, call Hertz back again for a third. Are we at number 3 yet? For a third time. Call them back, get the woman. Woman says, okay, she sounds like she's smart. She sounds like she's on top of it. She's like, let me check this. So I'm on hold with the woman. And I said to the girl, I said, this is the problem with corporations. And I said, first of all, is this a franchise or a corporation? She says corporately owned. I said, well, this is a problem with a corporation. Is right now you have so many customers that you cannot take care of them, and then you make them you put them out, like you inconvenience them. I said, at this point, I've been here for a half an hour, 45 minutes for something that should have taken 10 minutes. So now you're using my time, and I'm always really anal about my time. And I was kind of laughing to myself. I'm like, it's so weird to have an experience of someone's burning up my time when I am like really anal about time. And because it's the only thing I have. I mean, it's the most valuable resource you have. Once that time is gone, it's gone. So I'm on hold with her. I'm telling her kind of my thoughts, and she's like, "Well, I told you we could, we tried to get you in another car." I said, "Yeah, but you've got my money for a car that you didn't even give me." And I said, "I need that back." And I said, "And plus you won't take my other form of payment." She said, "Well, you could go down to the ATM. There's like 2 down the street." And I'm like, that's my point. You want to inconvenience me for something that you guys messed up on, and that's terrible customer service. And I'm calling customer support instead of you. I'm the customer. You should be servicing the customer. And so what she said, and this was really important, and I want you guys to remember this, is kind of a really important point of the whole story, other than the fact that Hertz sucks and I'll never rent from there again, is that she said, oh no, I can't do anything. I can't make any other adjustments. I can't give you a discount. I can't do anything because we've been getting audited, and I don't want to have to be explaining. All this fear is setting in. And so I'm like, okay, well, no big deal. I'm going to keep calling. So I actually got disconnected during the time. All of a sudden, the phone starts ringing again, back to Hertz customer service while I'm on the phone with her. At this point, it's 4 times. I think I'm working on the 5th time. And got on the phone the 5th time, and the woman, and so by this point, I've called Hertz 5 times. I've called Capital One twice. Gone through this process. I am over an hour. I'm like an hour and a half into this. The other guy working there couldn't really do anything because it was the same thing. He's, they're auditing us now. We can't really make any decisions. Our manager could make a decision, but guess what? He's in a meeting. So I'm like, all right. And I am still being very patient. I'm still utilizing my window of tolerance. I'm like, my people would be so proud of me. I'm being a great example. But I'm starting to get pissed. I'm like, this is ridiculous, because I start thinking about them burning up my time with really no solutions other than, this is in some way or another, it was my fault. And I'm like, it just doesn't seem right. So in my frustration, I go ahead and I walk down the street to the ATM, pull the money out, come back, and I'm waiting there at the desk. Of course, the girl's in the bathroom. And so on the way back from the ATM, the woman, the next number 5 woman at Hertz customer service, you guys, Hertz, you have these service calls recorded. You need to listen to them. Obviously, you're not listening to them, because you're going to hear 5 of your people screw this thing up. Everyone told me something different. The 5th person told me I had never even paid to begin with. And I'm like, on my app, it says Hertz rental car. I'm like, what? I said, you're number 5 person I've talked to, and no one's told me this up to this point. I'm like, I don't even want to talk to you anymore. Thank you. And so, of course, I called Capital One 3 times during this, Hertz 5 times. That's 8 phone calls. Each phone call about 10 minutes apiece. By this time, I'm there an hour and a half. I go and get the cash. I walk to get the cash, come back, pay cash for the car, put the $200 on the deposit on my credit card. So they still have this other chunk of money wrapped up that I got nothing for. And they couldn't give me an upgrade. They couldn't make my $20 right. Think about this. And I told the lady, I said, this experience is going to cost you guys money. It's going to cost you guys money because I've been really patient and I've given you every opportunity to fix this. Every opportunity. I am being so patient. I didn't raise my voice. I could feel myself getting frustrated with the lady at the desk and the young man. And I'm like, it's not their fault. Like, they're scared. They don't want to make any changes because they don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to put their jobs at risk over $20. I don't blame them. So I'm not getting upset about that. I'm just keeping it all pulled together. I'm operating within my window of tolerance. So walk down to the ATM did me really well. I still, I'm gonna be late to my friend's engagement, but I'm gonna get there and I'm gonna spend some time. And so I get back and I'm like, okay, so can I get the 127? Can't get the 127 deal because she can't make a change. Upgrade? Can't get an upgrade. No, sorry, this is the only car we could give you. And I'm like, oh man, this is just bad. This is just bad all the way around. And here's the thing. Listen to this. Another guy walks in, and he had walked in. He was there. He had been there an hour. Before I left Hertz, I'd been there for 2 hours. 2 hours trying to get this all figured out. I didn't get my $20 deal. I didn't get an upgrade. I didn't get an apology. I really didn't get anything. They give you the standard pat apology. Oh, we're so sorry this happened. But it's still, somewhere or another, I'm the one who's put out. So another guy walks up. He's there to rent his car that he's reserved. The guy at the desk says, we don't have your car here. And he's like, what do you mean you don't have it here? I reserved it. He said, no, that's not really how it works. He said, they catch your reservation somewhere else, and then they send them a list at 8 o'clock in the morning of all the cars that we need to have on the lot. So at 8 o'clock, then we have to start going around to all the other lots to get the cars that we have the list of reservations for. I thought that was interesting. So this guy not only did not get his car, he had to wait an hour until they found another vehicle to put him in because they don't have the cars on the lot. They have to go get the cars to have on the lot for the people that have already reserved, thinking, I'm going to get my car. And so I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. And so then it just made me think more how fear-based that system is, and how inconsiderate the system is, because the belief pattern behind that is that we're going to go ahead and take your reservation. We're going to get you to show up. And if we have the car, great. And if we don't, that's okay. You're probably not going to leave because you spent all your time getting down there, and you're not going to want to leave and go somewhere else. So that happens. You just sit there and you waste your time. That whole period of time, they utilize all your time. And then you're the one who loses, who suffers. And so he finally got a van, wasn't what he reserved. I finally got my car, so everything worked out. But here's the thing. Don't use Hertz. Their corporate structure is flawed. The energy is not good. And if you have stock invested in the Hertz Corporation, I would suggest you sell it as soon as possible, because the writing is on the wall. Because if something like this happens every day at just 10% of their locations, they are losing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And it's very sad, because I showed up in good faith. Things didn't work out, so here I am. So thank you for allowing me to express, process, and start to gain some understanding. And it just helps me be reflective of, I want to handle customer service. I want to for the Post+Institute and for serving you all, I want to practice customer delightment. I want to practice customer dazzlement. And if we're not delighting, if we're not dazzling, let us know so we can figure out what we need to do to make it better. Because customer service, and I've been saying this for like 15 years because I want to write a book, customer service is dead. It should be the new art and science of customer delightment, and then customer dazzlement. But you have to have some emotional intelligence to be able to do that. You can't be freaking your workers out, making them feel like they're going to get in trouble. It's just classic traditional parenting, right? Yeah, that's it. Anyway, my friend has invited me to a little event with her and another friend, so I'm going to sign off of here. Big Papa loves you. Remember, in any given situation, we always have two choices. We can become stressed out, fearful, and reactive, and I could cuss and I could yell. Or we can stop. We can take 3 to 10 deep breaths. We can take our butt for a walk. We can figure out how we're finally going to just take responsibility in the situation. Do what we got to do. Choose love. Move on. Leave a good vibe wherever you go. Make the world a better place. God bless. Have a fantastic evening. We'll see you guys tomorrow.